Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so excited to have with us today Jane Curth. Jane is a retired college professor in kinesiology and health, and she's taught for more than 20 years in this arena. She's an ACE certified personal trainer and has presented at almost 20 local and national conferences. Now, during her tenure at the college, she developed many online courses. And after recognizing the need for quality, affordable continuing education opportunities in the fitness industry, Jane founded FitFixNow. Now, with FitFixNow, she's bringing the fitness industry into the age of high quality online education. And in addition to being the CEO of FitFixNow, Jane's also a consultant and model for Silver Sneakers, and a former member, get this, of the over age 50 hip hop Atlanta dance crew, Silver Classix Crew. I love that. Now, Jane is also shares her knowledge consistently with the next generation by being an active mentor with the acclaimed nonprofit, The Mentor Project. We're both a member of The Mentor Project, and that's how we met. So welcome, yes. Jane. I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh, Tina, I'm excited to be with you. We're co-mentors with the Mentor Project, and we just instantly had a friendship with each other. And I'm a great fan of Tina Parker.
And I'm a great fan of Jane Curth. So this is a perfect match.
Yes.
So good. So Jane, you've done so much in your career and in your life, and I see how you have followed the passion that you have in your heart. But I'd like to go back to when you started and give us a taste of when you were growing up. What was the definition of success that you were taught?
That's an interesting question for me because I am in the last 3/4 of my life. I'm older than a lot of people that'll be watching this. And my parents were raised during the Depression. My dad was, I remember hearing stories that at age 14, he was the only one in his family that had any type of job. And my mom was about 7 years younger than my dad. So she was more of a 7-year-old in the throes of the Depression, but they always felt like success was not owing any money to anybody, that you were always debt free. They worked and saved and paid cash for their first house. And then as they started to grow the family and all, they saved up enough to purchase the second house with selling the first. And so that was really what they thought success was, is being debt free. They did not have credit cards till I was probably a sophomore in high school. So they had no credit. And so to them, that was success, was not owing anything. And so I do struggle because I was a child of the Depression. And so I like to be as debt-free as possible too, which hasn't always been easy in my life.
So how has that played out for you in your life? Because building a business usually is not debt-free. For anybody who's an entrepreneur, you know that.
No.
So how has your definition of success evolved over the journey of your life?
It has evolved in so many different ways. Early on in my life, I thought if we can pay bills and get by, at that point in my 20s was success. But as I've gotten older, to me, success is living a high quality of life. And I mean physically, emotionally, spiritually, that I live the highest quality of life that I can. I love reading about the blue zone areas, the areas of the world where people live high quality of life into their 90s and 100s. And so a lot of that has to do with physical emotional, spiritual health. And that to me now is true success. It's
Mhm.
living that high quality of life. It's about family. I'm a grandparent now, and grandchildren are a lot of fun. And it's about just finding pleasure in the everyday and being in the present and mindfulness. It's now not so much about monetary success. It's more of the internal. And I know Debbie Heiser, our friend that founded the Mentor Project. I love the chart she always shows that as we age, our physical abilities decline, but our emotional abilities improve as we get older.
Yeah, I love that too, because so much of the time as we're getting older, we think, oh, my runway's getting shorter. I can't do as much as I used to do. And that's
Right.
really not true. Because,
No.
yeah, because as you develop and you're further along on your journey, you have more experiences to pull from. You have more to share with the world. And a
Yes.
lot of us start to feel this calling on our heart to contribute in a bigger way, right? And
Yes.
in a more aligned way with who we are. And for you, you started FitFixNow because you saw a need in the
Yes.
fitness industry that you said, what I bring to the table, I can do something about that.
Yes. And one thing that I love about helping trainers, group exercise instructors in the fitness industry is that if you teach them and teach them well, high quality content, then the reach is exponential.
Mhm.
You know, look at all the people you help and that you touch um, by training the trainers in a way that will be beneficial to their clients.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'd love for you to share a little bit. Was that part of what led you to shift in this way?
Yeah, you know, I knew that a big pain point for personal trainers was keeping their continuing ed, you know, keeping their certification through continuing ed courses.
Mhm.
And I knew that pain point personally. In the 90s, I was certified as personal trainer. I was still teaching part-time, so I really needed some more income. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to get certified as a trainer and get some clients. So I got certified, and the test is really not easy. It's a 4-hour test that covers exercise science, it covers basic nutrition, just runs the gamut of anatomy. You know, I had to go back and really review my anatomy. Um, and then when I was teaching full time, I let it lapse because I wasn't using it. Then I decided I wanted to get the course approved as a college credit course, personal training, because it had a lot of great, you know, it had exercise science, kinesiology. Um, it had so many components in it that the students would learn from, and it would give them a part-time income that was better than fast food.
There you go.
And so I got it approved through the college senate, through all the red tape, and I thought, how can I teach this and not be certified myself? So I
Mhm.
went through the rigors of studying again and taking the test again, and I thought, I never want to let my continuing ed lapse again because it was too hard to retake the test. So that was really instrumental in forming it. I will say my mother was an entrepreneur. She in mid 1950s
Mhm.
got her real estate salesman's license, then got her broker's license, and in the 60s she was a general contractor building residential homes, which
Mhm.
you did not hear of women in the 1960s.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you already had this role model
Yes.
up to as well in that arena, which is
Yes.
fantastic. And I think with our work with the Mentor Project, that's a lot of what is brought out through the mentors is just allowing younger generation to be exposed to people who have excelled in certain areas so that they see
Yes.
what's possible. right? And you were able to see through your mom what's possible and kind of
Right.
look at life through that lens. And so I love how you've pivoted. You had this calling in your heart, you saw the need, you said, I know I can do something to make this better because your experience was so painful going through the
Right.
certification. And on that journey, it's one thing to have a calling. It's another thing to take that bold step in that direction to actually make it happen. So I'd love for you to share if there were like, was there ever a moment where you questioned or second guessed, like, why me? Am I the right person for this? What am I doing? And if so, because I think we all go through that, but if
Yes. Yes.
that was the case, what got you back on track?
You know, it's funny because I do have co-working space at Atlanta Tech Village, which is, kind of a startup hub, and we are a technology company. We're considered that. But one day I was walking through the building, and on one of the big screens, it says, being an entrepreneur is like jumping off of a cliff, hoping your parachute will open, you know?
Pretty much.
And I thought, that is so true. There have been so many times that I've been discouraged, and I thought, why am I doing this? Am I doing any good? And the thing that there were a couple of big things that got me through that. One was getting feedback from some of the people taking our courses. They and we like to be a customer service company that does online education. We really try to focus on customer service. But I would have people say to me, it's cost me so much in the past to take my continuing ed. It was getting hard to afford the continuing education, and you're affordable. You're also so convenient. One of our early users said, I had to take a friend to the hospital for a physical test she had to go through. And while I was waiting, I took your course, I passed the quiz, I instantly got my certificate all before she got through with whatever test they were doing on her. So the encouragement from people who were using FitFixNow, the major help for me in those discouraging times was my family. I'm in business with my son, Blake, and we try to, at different times, he's gone through the discouragement than me, and other times I'm going through it. So we've tried to step in the gap during those times, but having a supportive family around me and letting them say, you can do this. And I'll never forget, Tina, one time on a panel that you were on, when you were talking about mentors, you said that one good thing about mentors is you can take their belief in you and internalize it till you have that belief in yourself. And that's what my family did for me. They were my mentors. They were like, we believe in you, you can do this, we're behind you, supporting you. And that's kind of what a mentor does, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it makes such a difference who we surround ourselves with, because there is a saying that you become the reflection of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right.
Right. And it's so true, because just like you said, when you were discouraged, Blake was there to fill in that gap, right? And give you that belief that you started to question in yourself. And I know you did the same for him in those moments when it was shifted. And building community around a common purpose and a common vision, it's so powerful. And sometimes I think we just default and go through our life with whoever happens to show up without being intentional about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did also, because as you know, last year I fractured my kneecap. And I was really struggling with my life being different because I couldn't bend my knee for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I work out a lot. And I sought out a counselor that I'd seen a few years ago, and that was valuable to me too. It was recognizing when I needed outside help from
Yeah.
somebody that wasn't a family member, and that's been incredibly valuable.
Yes, absolutely. Coaches, therapists, counselors, trainers, like
Right.
people that are trained to help you move forward faster, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and we don't have to do it alone. And I think so much of the time we think, oh, no one's going to understand what I'm going through. I have to do this by myself. It's weak if I ask for help. Like, we've got to break that because we are never going to be able to fully customize our own success in life by ourselves. It doesn't happen.
You're
Because
right.
if your vision is big enough, you're not doing that by yourself. And so I thank you for sharing that and really giving permission for
Yes.
everybody to say, me, I want some help in whatever area it is. Like, that's
Yes.
fantastic. Thank you. And what do you
Sure.
believe is the most important thing for people to focus on when they're like, I'm going to customize my own success on my terms, the way it's aligned with me? What do you think is most important for folks to focus on then?
I really think focusing on their passion, their passion for what they're doing.
Mhm.
If you lack the passion, it's going to be so much more difficult to customize their success. So, and I kind of think it's twofold. I think it's so important to focus on, is this my passion? And how can I make it my passion if it's slightly off kilter? What is it that draws me? The other thing, and this is coming from someone in their 60s, is that work-life balance.
Mhm.
I think you have to be balanced in both. If you're overbalanced in the work life, you're not going to have the quality of life that you should have. So I really believe that those two things are essential in customizing your success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually just having a conversation with a friend who's still in the military, and she was sharing how that's been such a big revelation for her, is that you can get so focused on what
Yes.
you're doing at work and lose track of yourself, you lose track of your family, lose track of your health, and
Yes.
to what extent, right? To what end?
Yeah.
So you're right, if we can have some harmony, sometimes they are imbalanced, but I think the harmony of focusing intentionally on both and having a well-rounded life, right? It makes
Yes.
such a difference. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And being in the present. As I've gotten older and older, I do look forward to things that are coming up, but I try to stay, I'm looking forward to seeing my kids in New York in May, but today is today.
Yeah.
And I want to be mindful and aware and grateful. Gratitude is a huge component of that.
Gratitude is a massive component of that. And that actually, you and I have been talking about doing a course together about
Yes.
mental fitness because
Yes.
of my work in brain health and neuroencoding, and being able to see through SPECT scans how gratitude actually makes you smarter. Like, it doesn't just feel good, it actually helps your brain function better in certain areas. And when we're not, and we're so focused on worry and overwhelm and fear of a fear of the unknown is a big one,
Yeah.
especially if you're going
Yeah.
to step into this bold, new way of being and creating something new. Like, that actually shuts down part of your brain when you stay stuck in that. And so thank you for sharing that as well, because yes, being in the present, being grateful for what you have, you actually kick your brain up a notch, and things become easier to do. Life
Yes.
becomes easier. And it's not because you feel good, which is a good part of it, but that's like a nice to have. But it's also because you're functioning better.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to be partnering with you and seeing how we could develop something like that for your folks to be able to have
Yes.
that mental fitness and pass that information along to their people, the folks that you're
Exactly.
training, right?
That
Somebody
exponential
today,
reach.
yeah, absolutely. Because how many times when you're a fitness trainer or you're trying to get somebody to do that last rep and they're just defeated, they're like deflating themselves, right? When you can tap into that mental fitness as well as the physical fitness, yeah, it's a powerful combination for sure.
And that adds to that long quality of life.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, Jane, thank you so much. This has been
Oh,
fantastic. So appreciate you coming on and sharing your wisdom, because there are so many people out there I know, especially now we're in the great reinvention or whatever you want to term it. But it's
right.
such an opportunity in the world right now for us to shift and create what we truly want, make an impact, make a contribution in a way that's aligned with who we are and what we want to bring to the world. And you've clearly done that. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Tina. And thank you so much for having me and for all that you do.
Thank you, Jane. All right, we'll see everyone later.